Today in the JustStocks studio, we're joined by Grant Haywood from Horizon Minerals. Welcome back, Grant.
Hi John, great to be with you.
With Horizon raising $30 million, could you take investors through the key details?
Yeah, sure. We've had a oversubscribed subscription and have taken $30 million in a two-tranche placement. So we've brought in some new investors. There's been a lot of interest, particularly around Asia and Hong Kong, and we've also had some strong support from our current investors overseas and domestically as well, in the UK, America, and obviously here in Australia.
Well, investors always want to know where the money will be allocated. How are you going to spend the funds?
Yeah, look, we've got a large stockpile working capital tied up at Boorara at the moment. So we want to obviously don't want to wait for those funds to come through into cash. So we want to put our cash to work now. So we really want to accelerate things. We want to accelerate our Black Swan processing plant, get that study done and get that gold being produced there. And we also want to get the drill bit to work as well.
Well, also with a bit of a focus on the balance sheet, would you consider retiring any debt?
Yeah, look, it's always a good question, John. We've got it's 6 million Australian or 3.7 million in debt at the moment with Nabari Partners out of New York. So that debt crystallises in November. So we've got great optionality with more cash on the balance sheet now to retire that debt. We can retire it early if we want, or we can wait for the bullet payment in November. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Well, moving on then to the recently acquired Black Swan plant, when could gold potentially be first produced?
Yeah, we're looking at studies being completed in October, and then we'll make an FID later this year and look to refurbish that plant next year. So it looks like an initial 9-month time frame to refurbish the front end of the plant and build the gold circuit on the back end. So we're looking like late 2026, but we'll try and accelerate those plans as quick as we can, but it's great getting this cash in. We always thought we could fund the refurbishment of the plant from operating cash flows that we're generating at Phillips Find and Boorara, but we always also thought we'd need some working capital to start the mines to feed the plant. So we've now de-risked that process by taking some of that working capital forward now, which we can put to work into the ground, but also we'll get that working capital back and be able to put it into the plant and mines in the future.
Well, busy times there, Grant, at Black Swan, but could you also update on the potential cash generation from mining activities?
Yeah, sure. So we're producing from 2 assets at the moment. We're producing from our Boorara asset. We generated some large stockpiles there. So we've got an ore purchase agreement with Paddington, and sometimes it takes some time to agree on the grades. Essentially, we need to generate stockpiles, drill them, get assays back, have the discussion about the grade, and then obviously truck it to the plant. So sometimes there can be a lag of sometimes like 9 weeks before we get our first payment, and probably sometimes 3 months or more before we get our second payment. So we do have a large working capital contingent tied up in those stockpiles. So this cash coming in unencompasses. We don't have to wait for the cash, and we can put the funds to work. But we do have those large stockpiles, which will be generating a lot of gold over the next coming months. And Phillips Find's going quite well, so we're still on track to finish that project late September, early October. We've recently just run a campaign through the FMR plant at Greenfields. So we're just waiting on final gold in circuit assays to come back, and we'll be able to make a market announcement on how that last campaign's gone at Phillips Find as well.
Finally, how has the rising gold price changed the landscape for WA-based companies?
Yeah, look, it is a great time to be in the gold space. There's been a lot of interest, as I mentioned earlier, particularly around Asia, and there's a good market to be in gold at the moment. Labour-wise, we've struggled initially. It took us a while to ramp up our Boorara project, and we've also built up those stockpiles. So it's taken us a while to get operators, particularly road train operators, to be able to get that ore to market. But we're fully manned up and sort of at steady state production at the moment. So we're in a good place at the moment. But the market for gold is still very strong, and a great time to be producing gold bars.
Busy times ahead, Grant. Thank you for updating investors today on JustStocks.
Thanks, John. It's been a pleasure.